What's up? This is your host, Non-Fungible TC, Non-Fungible Today and Non-Fungible Tomorrow. And today we do have a long show. Lots of news in the crypto and NFT world, especially also in the traditional finance world. So I'll keep this short and brief. Doing the show slightly earlier because this is certainly uncertain times. Personally, for those of you who do not know, I'm actually based in Asia, and for the whole day today, everything was very tense, right? Everything, there's a lot of tension in the news about, Pelosi is visiting Taiwan, and China is going to do this and that, and Taiwan is doing this and that. So basically, for those of you who do not know, the mainland Chinese market, okay, the mainland China market, led losses in Asia. So today, as geopolitical tension rose over the U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visit to Taiwan. So Nancy Pelosi is doing like a Asian tour, right? So she was in Singapore and then she went to Malaysia and now she is going to Taiwan. Allegedly, she's going to Taiwan in around 3 hours time. So she'll arrive Taiwan evening time. So our local media reports citing unnamed identified sources say Pelosi would go ahead with her visit to Taiwan, a democratic Southwood Island that China sees as a runaway province. The Reserve Bank of Australia hiked rate by 50 basis points after official data last week showed prices in Australia rose 6.1% in the second quarter compared with a year ago. So at the same time, Australian market isn't doing so well as well because they have a 50 basis point hike, right? But still less than the US basis point hike. But at the same time, Asian market was kind of negative because Pelosi's visit will significantly raise, U.S. and China tension, but it's unlikely to produce a Chinese reaction that risks conflict, right? So right now, everything, right? Even the Taiwan, currency it went down as well because of this, right? So if you look at this, the whole global market, right now is very worried. If you look at Asia, everything is kind of red, okay? Europe opened red, people are, concerned, okay? Pre-market is kind of mixed, but stock futures slip at U.S. tension simmers over Pelosi's expected trip to Taiwan. So I'm not gonna go through the geopolitical details here, but basically, China was really against Pelosi visiting Taiwan. And the U.S. did reassure China, saying that hey, that's her personal decision, right? It doesn't really represent the state, but China sees it, because Pelosi is actually the speaker of the Senate, right? So she's kind of like the third in command in the U.S. hierarchy, right? So that's why they do treat it as something that's very that will harm tensions, harm relations, right? So simply put, and that is the reason why we see all this red, right? Because crypto is actually trading with the traditional market, right? So this is the traditional market. Stock fell on the first trading day, so this was yesterday, right? But there are some positive news yesterday. Activision beat analyst expectation. Pinterest went up, even though they missed earnings, but then had better user numbers. So today we will have AMD, Airbnb, PayPal, JetBlue, Starbucks, Uber, Ferrari, Caterpillar. So Uber just released the result, right? So they were losing money, but at the same time, something positive came up, which is let us see, stop making the biggest news. So the right-hand company's revenue did come in better than expected, right? But then they reported a quarterly loss of 1.33 shares. So the shares rallied 10.8% in a pre-market action, right? So yeah, definitely earnings season, not as much as last week, but then we still have earnings coming up. We do still have inflation. Ukraine dispatched its first grain shipment since the start of the Russian invasion. So basically, hoping to ease global food shortages, right? So basically, you really can see that everything, like all the inflation stuff, is happening because you have these geopolitical unrest, you have wars that's happening. So that's why right now the market is kind of suppressed to a certain extent, right? Right now because everyone is very the tension is quite high here in Asia right now. Okay, so regardless, so this is basically the whole big news that is overshadowing the whole market, and also kind of causing pressure for the whole market. So that's why we aren't really rallying today. So moving on to crypto news. So crypto news, we are at 1.06 trillion, so which is a 1.56% decrease over the last day. But at the same time, in terms of stablecoin, we have a 0.14% increase, which I would like to share some news with you. Okay, a lot of influencers, what I heard is kind of bullish for some reason, even though we have this geopolitical tension that's happening in Asia, right? And I will tell you some of the reason why they might be bullish, right? So if you look at the headlines, right? This is from Bank of America. They're saying that net flow suggests bullish crypto market momentum, right? So they came up with a report, identified several bullish trend in the crypto market. So they're thinking that, hey, we might turn, the market could have like be positive, right? We did have like a relief rally for some time. Okay, so they're saying that, okay, these are the net flow to personal wallets. So a lot of net flow from Bitcoin, Ethereum, FTT. Okay, so once these go to the personal wallet, it basically means that there is less crypto on exchanges and the selling pressure is lower, right? So at the same time, uptick in stablecoin, which I will share more. So what they're saying is that more and more money is moving to stablecoin, right? So the market cap for stablecoin has increased, which basically means that money is on the sideline and money could be deployed, right? So a lot of these different type of indicators, thinking is indicating that it's bullish. At the same time, if you look at this news, okay, Tether, we have been covering that Tether's market cap has been reduced after the UST dump, right? People were saying that, oh, Tether has yeah, they were FUD around Tether, simply put. Okay, so people were moving to USDC. But recently, the Tether printer has fired up again as USDT circulating supply has started to tick up, right? So this is just recent, 6 hours ago. So it seems like money is getting into the crypto space, but in stablecoin, right? So now Tether has been issuing new Tether, they're minting new Tether on the chain. So it seems like some renewed interest might be there, and it is like a rocket ship, prone to explosion, right, going up, right? So at the same, so this is also shown here, on the crypto market cap in the stablecoin, which is a 0.14% increase. But at the same time, in the crypto space, it isn't without its negative stuff, right? Because at the same time, if we look at the blockchain, if we look, oh, I actually forgot. Oh yeah. If you look at the market cap, we are still sideways, but slightly creeping up. If you look at the total market cap, Bitcoin, so dominance rose up a little bit. Ethereum kind of going back on a sideways trend, right, in terms of the dominance, right? So yeah, so two type of perspective to give you really. We look at on-chain data. Interestingly, for Bitcoin, today is the first time I see this where exchange reserve is high and also net flow is high. Which is interesting to see, because if you look at exchange reserve in 1 month, we have been creeping up, okay, in the past while, but now slowly going back down. But then if we look at the net flow for Bitcoin, there is in the last 2 days slightly increase of Bitcoin entering the exchanges, right? So it could mean some selling pressure. But if there is more stable coin to buy these cryptocurrency, then it might be able to sustain the price, okay? But at the same time, SEC, slapped founders, promoters of an alleged Ponzi scheme, Forsage, with fraud charges. So basically, the regulator said that the popular Ethereum D app was used to swindle investors out of $300 million, right? So they are, suing around 11 people. They charge 11 people tied to alleged 300 million crypto Ponzi scheme with fraud on Monday. And this was on different headlines. And, Vitalik kind of called out this as well. So it's interesting to see how investment is happening in the space. Even though this is decentralized, this is crypto, but it doesn't mean that, you could run away from scams or Ponzi schemes, right? So next news, this was also in the news. Crypto bridge Nomad exploited for 190 million in a Frenzied report. Also, I think there was a bug in the upgrade, which someone made a thread about it, and people were able to kind of withdraw funds. So basically, it lost like 190 million. Okay, so this is another showing that, hey, DeFi protocol bridges could be maybe code, bugs related to the code could definitely render, exploits like this, right? So DeFi has its own risk as well, even though it has its own pros. So another news for Ethereum. So this article is about Ethereum slides 6% amid growing merge concerns. But I do think that Ethereum is sliding because it needs a breather, right? The momentum was so strong a week and two ago. It needs a breather right now, and also you have all of these geopolitical reasons affecting the whole market. It's not Ethereum exclusive, right? The whole market is down, right? You even have some that's down pretty down, right? So Ethereum. So basically, this is about Ethereum and also the bearish scenario for Ethereum, right? So people are saying that, hey, what if miners do not want to move to proof of work, right? What if they want to fork, like create another chain for Ethereum, right? So there are some concerns like that. And also there is concern like, hey, there's a lot of risk with the merge. For example, people working on it for years doesn't mean it will work out perfectly. What if there's any technical bugs or issue with a merge, right? It could cause, the price to dump a bit, right? Because there's a lot of data stored on the blockchain. What if it's missing some blocks and stuff like that when the merge happens, right? And also, what if the miners want to sell, right? And also, what if this is like the buy the rumor, sell the news thing, right? So a lot of uncertainty that is definitely happening, but this is kind of like a narrative that you have to be aware of, from this time to September, right? Because at September, you'll have the Fed meeting again, okay? And if the Fed see that the market is recovering and spending power is still up, it means that the interest rate hike isn't really working, that there's a chance that they'll increase more interest rate hike, which could tank the market even further, right? So a lot of different scenarios that could play out, right? So moving on to NFT news. So NFT news, we look at this from LFG. Yuga Labs announced that they intend on releasing the IP agreement for Meebits, which is great. So Yuga Labs, for those of you who do not know, Meebits is also a collection from Dapper Labs, the company or the studio that created CryptoPunks, where Yuga Labs actually brought the rights to it, right? So the plan to release all the rights, the IP agreements to its holders. So that is great. More and more development, more and more community-driven development for the IP. And so this is a great news, okay, recently, okay, and also this is the reason why they were charging like a 5% royalty, right? A 5% creator royalty for Meebits. So maybe that 5% could be used to fund for the IP. Tiffany's NFT drop, I was talking about it yesterday, causing controversy, but I do think that it is a great marketing gimmick, like, or stunt, to really show that not all NFT is targeted to the masses, right? Some NFTs are just reserved to the OGs, or only people who could afford a CryptoPunk could buy it. Because after Tiffany decided to create these exclusive NFTs for punks, the punks transaction volume came up. Increased by 218% within a day. So people are buying CryptoPunk like the super rich. So it really gives you a perspective that, in crypto, although there's a lot of different type of people, you cannot underestimate. We'll have to see whether people do mint it though, right? But you cannot underestimate how much wealth has been created in space and how much spending power these people could have, right? For people who enter early, right? From people from outside, it feels like, oh, they're spending thousands of ETH, millions of dollars to buy this. But what if those entry price, or what if these people who bought these ETH brought ETH like at $10 or $100, right? To them, the entry price isn't as high as the latecomers nowadays, right? So another interesting news for today's NFT news is I really like this infographic, right? So this infographic over here basically shows the countries most interested in NFT, and then it talks about how Singapore, has a lot of interest in NFTs, right? So let me show you this image with a bigger. So this is different interests, of NFTs around the world, and then it shows that how Singapore is a country that has interest in NFTs. The local NFT boom capitalized on a strong gaming culture and growing belief that digital goods are of genuine value. So this is what people think about, right? So this is all Google data, Google search data. So it's actually interesting to see how I think it is like a double-edged thing, right? Some gamers see the potentials of NFT, but some gamers, they think it's a cash grab, like a DLC, right? So yeah, lots of contradictions always in the space. So this basically is the Google search data of NFTs. And it's interesting to see, like the top 10 countries most interested in NFTs. First is Singapore, then is Hong Kong, which is not surprising, right? But recently, I think the noise have kind of died down here in Hong Kong. Early on, a lot of Solana NFTs were quite popular. I think people were into Solana NFTs because gas fees were low and they were really trying to flip and make money, right? Because everything, when you talk to people here in Hong Kong, they don't really talk about the intrinsic, values of the NFT of digital ownership, right? But usually they say, hey, how's the NFT? Are you making money? That kind of stuff. So it's very flip, very trading, mindset, right? But we'll have to see. I shared that next year in March, cryptocurrency it'll be harder to access it because exchanges will need to have a license, and these licenses only give them access to institutional investor in the early stages. So we'll see how NFTs will develop here in Hong Kong. So number 3 is actually Canada, Iceland, and the United States, which is surprising. I always thought NFT is a very North American driven thing. I thought the United States is gonna be in the top 5, right? And then you have Liechtenstein, San Marino, Australia, New Zealand, and Malta, right? So they use Ahrefs to find a number of searches for NFT per month in every country, calculate a number of monthly searches per 1 million population, right? So interesting, beautiful infographic showing you the interests of NFTs globally, right? So yeah, that's it, guys. That's it for today's news. I hope you enjoyed this. This is your all I can say that this is going to be a very uncertain market. Expect maybe volatility or some downside, but for some reason it seems a lot of influencers quite bullish in the next in a short-term horizon, right? So we'll have to see. Maybe after a few days when the visit in Taiwan is over, we'll have the market rebounding, right? And then people say, oh, it's just some countries trying to show the strength and stuff like that, right? So but as someone who's living in a neighborhood like who's in Asia, I really do hope that tensions do not escalate, right? It is very stressful to see all these headlines, to always watch news talking about the potentials of war, talking about the military mobility, moving warships and aircrafts and stuff like that, right? So yeah, guys, this is your host, Non-Fungible TC. Thank you for watching. If you like the content, remember to like and subscribe, share to your friends. Signing out.